Good morning, and welcome to another inspiring episode of the Good Morning Minute, where we start the day with purpose, power, and a little bit of passion. I'm your host, Angelina Mojica, and today's conversation is part of our special series in partnership with the Empower Her Steps virtual conference, a movement rooted in helping women rise, heal, and walk boldly in the life God designed for them. Our mission is simple but powerful, empowering life purpose, because we believe that when a woman finds clarity in her calling, everything changes for her family, her community, and for the generations to come. So friends, grab yourself a cup of coffee, take a deep breath, and get ready to be uplifted as we dive into real stories, hard lessons, and bold steps towards purpose with today's incredible guest, and that is Clover Johnston. Hi, Clover. Thank you so much for being a guest on our show.
I am delighted to be here. It's wonderful, just wonderful to be here. So hope my message or my journey will connect with your listeners because it's all
Wonderful.
about going from pain to purpose.
Yes, it is. And so, Clover, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I am a co-parenting coach and by extension, a women's empowerment coach. I support single and divorced moms who are no longer in a romantic relationship with their partners to navigate difficult co-parenting successfully, peacefully,
Mhm.
using my three-step heal, grow, and thrive method. It's the same method that I use to go from broke and broken to healed and empowered, and now walking in my passion and calling boldly to support other women on the journey.
I love it. Oh my gosh. And it's funny because just I had another guest on the show who was talking about being able to respect in regards to co-parenting, especially when relationships separate. So I like that. I like that you are helping women do so. All right. Well, before we get started, I'd like to have a little icebreaker just to kind of get things going. And so my question to you is, what's one small thing that makes you smile?
One small thing that makes me smile.
Yeah.
Acts of kindness. Acts of
Oh.
kindness. Yes,
Is that your
definitely.
love language? Because that's my love language for sure.
Because people have become so crass and in the cut and thrust of life,
Mm.
the fast pace, we forget that little acts of kindness mean a lot to somebody, especially
Yes.
in a time of need. I was on the bus recently and long ago, or not so long ago, when somebody older than you step in, especially if they have a
Mhm.
disability,
Mhm.
someone would quickly jump up out of their seat. And I was just lamenting because I saw the younger people rushing to grab those
Mm.
seats rather than, conceding that people who are older and more, in need.
Right.
So acts of kindness for sure.
I love that. Oh, okay. Well, let's jump into our conversation. What was a defining moment of pain or challenge in your life, and how did it impact you?
Okay, my defining moment of pain and challenge was definitely the unraveling of my marriage
Mm.
with two infant children.
Wow.
So it was indeed an awakening, a light bulb moment.
Mhm.
Because as it unraveled, it's not that relationships don't break up, but what happened as it was unraveling, I realized that I was totally unsupported, and
Mhm.
that's physically, emotionally, and financially. And that went on for an extended period of time.
Mhm.
So overall, I would say I received what I call inconsistent and intermittent co-parenting. It just was never enough.
Mhm.
So I lived in overwhelm for a long time, especially when my kids were under the age of 12,
Mhm.
because that's a very high energy age where you have to do
Mhm.
so much follow-up and so
Yes.
much physical work for the maintenance, self-maintenance, and the maintenance of them as well.
Mhm.
So that became a defining moment of how I would live my life or how I would create a mantra for my life. And it was a case of kicking a dead dog when they're down, because it started to unravel in my postpartum. So when the younger of the two, my first marriage produced my only marriage, but I had produced two children. But later on, I was involved in a long-term relationship and had another daughter. So in the unraveling, we often say in life, why is this happening to me? And what if? Well, I did not have that opportunity to ask, what if? I had to say to myself, what next? And what do you need to move yourself forward and to keep these children going, and for you to support them in the best way you can with the physical and emotional resources and the financial resources that you have. Because every one of us has limits on resources, whatever those resources are. And so one thing that came to my mind that I decided on within 6 months, when I saw the boat sinking, I decided that there is no way myself or my children are going to come out of this situation worse off than if their father was present. And by that, I meant that I've always believed that education was the lifeline for moving forward outside of faith. That's what I saw in my family, and everybody who made it by their personal and professional development. So even before I got married, I had a plan that I wanted to go back to graduate school. And I even at the time remembered my ex-husband saying to me before the breakup, how would that happen? I didn't respond because I knew that when I wanted to get something done, I was relentless and I was going to get it done. So unlike most people, I didn't get dogged or engulfed in the shame, everything shame. What did I do? I'm not saying I didn't have short moments. Let me acknowledge that I did, because it is almost that go-to default emotion, both shame and fear. But because of the demands on my life with young children, I couldn't reside there. So I started focusing on my own healing. Healing is personal, it's intentional, and it is internal. Healing doesn't start with anybody else's approval. It starts with your deliberate intention to shift your pain. Movement is medicine, and even when you are in pain, you have to be moving in small steps, in little bites, not in gulps, because if you do that, you are going to end up in overwhelm. And because of the way healing unfolds, it's not linear, it loops back, you have relapses. There are so many triggers along the journey, but it starts with that personal intention. So healing doesn't happen by accident. It really happens by decision. So I chose to use my faith. My faith was my foundation. It was my go-to. And I believe I took that option because I had been raised in a strong Catholic family. And my parents were both committed to their faith and their church. They served their community. And by extension, they were involved in every area of church life. And so it sort of came naturally to confront my pain through my faith. Because heartbreak comes in many forms. So for me, it was divorce, betrayal, abandonment. For somebody else, it can be suicide of a child. There's so many
Mm-hmm.
devastating stressors out there that really
Yes.
need hardcore healing.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a time of grieving. You're grieving the loss of a relationship. Nobody signs up when you get married that you are going to be co-parents and you are going to be
Mm-hmm.
divorced in 5, 10, 15, or 20 years. It doesn't happen that way.
Yeah.
And heartbreak does not discriminate, but neither does healing. And it's an option we all have. But
Mm-hmm.
for each of us, the framework is different.
Mm-hmm.
So we choose. And so that was basically my journey. And I hung on to my faith like a bulldog hanging
Mm-hmm.
on to a bone. And what I'll say to anybody on the healing journey
Mm-hmm.
is we have to look within. It's not going to come from outside.
Mm-hmm.
Your self-awareness and self-reflection as to where you want to take yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's less about what the other person did to you, but it's how you want to respond. How is it you want to move forward, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because these are the gateways that are going to help you to move forward. And you can't heal from what you pretend. You
Mm-hmm.
have to, you have to, what I call, name it to tame it, whatever is the hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to name it so that we can face it, so
Mm-hmm.
we can make it. We
Mm-hmm.
have to identify what it is that is at the heart of our pain and work
Mm-hmm.
for that healing.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and you're speaking so much truth right now. Like, it's so easy for us to automatically shift into that autopilot survival, mode when we're going through these things. I don't want to feel any pain. I don't want to even acknowledge that I'm being hurt or have been hurt. I just want to just keep going, keep going. And it's almost mindless living, right? You're just living in this place where you're not even emotionally connected, you're detached from everything. So then you miss out on the moments precious in life. So had you done that, during your divorce, you would have missed out on those moments of development with your children, the experiences that they were going through as they grew. And you have to, as a mother, it's you want to be emotionally present. You want to be there and experience it so you can remember things too. Like you can remember those moments of joy and bliss because when you block out, and I mean, this is the the choir, just talking here, but like, um, I remember moments just even in my own divorce where like I was just trying to get, you know what, I got to work, I got to get up, got to get the kids to school, just task, 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 task. That now, when I look back and I spend time with my grandchildren, I'm like, oh my gosh, I missed these moments with my own children. I should have been more present. So I absolutely
Yes,
understand
you
that.
you do miss moments of joy, but you can't beat upon yourself. You have to
Hmm.
give yourself self-compassion because
Yeah.
in that season you are repairing yourself,
Yes.
right? And if you didn't
Yes.
take the time to repair yourself, you wouldn't have been able to show up for them later.
It's
So I
true.
always say, just never beat up on yourself. Just be thankful for what you were able to do and just live in gratitude that you even survived it. There are some people who didn't survive it. There are some people who are chronically ill, chronic mental illness,
Mm-hmm.
chronic diabetes from the stress. It brought on cancer. Stress predisposes us
Mm-hmm.
to a lot of chronic and devastating diseases. Because what a lot of us don't recognize about divorce and breakup of a family is that it ranks very high in the scale of life's most devastating event. It's in the top three, and it
Mm-hmm.
comes basically second to death and death of a spouse.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a severe pit that we go into. We get really knocked over. And I have learned from women clients
Mm-hmm.
that even when they initiated the divorce, it was still painful and they didn't expect that. Yes, because you are grieving loss.
Yeah, absolutely. And also like you're grieving the present relationship, but you're also grieving the future that you thought was going to happen for with with your partner. And yeah, it's hard. It's so hard.
Absolutely.
But I love that you mentioned self-compassion because we are all human and we are all susceptible to life, the life that life's, like the kids say,
Mhm.
lifing. Um, and that can be predictable or unpredictable. And we just need to understand that we're human, and at the end of it all, and we're going to go through setbacks, and like you said, it's the healing process is not linear, and we're going to find
Mhm.
ourselves looping around in things, and coming back to things we thought we
Mhm.
had a handle on and didn't, and it's okay. So hear me say, hear me, if you're listening out there, hear me say it's okay. One day at a time, one step at a time, just get back up and keep moving forward for sure. So, Clover, now how has your experience shaped who you are today?
Okay, so my experience has definitely been a major, major shaker in
Mm-hmm.
who I have become.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't emphasize again how important healing is. But on that healing journey, we build the resilience muscle. Resilience doesn't come overnight. And it's not just the ability to bounce back, it is that
Mm-hmm.
ability to rebuild better, to become the best version of yourself. But
Mm-hmm.
as I mentioned before, it is an up and down ride. It is not a smooth sail. So
Mm-hmm.
we have to recognize that if somebody's listening and wondering, why am I in the pit today? You get back up. That's what resilience is. You get back
Mm-hmm.
up and you have a go at it again.
Mm-hmm.
So that is so important.
Mm-hmm.
How it has shaped me is that as a woman, I gave birth to three daughters. And at the time of the breakup of my marriage, I had two. And luckily for me, I had already been to university, so I had a bachelor's degree. And when I saw the lack that I was being exposed to,
Mm-hmm.
the just lack of financial support, lack of physical support, because financial is not just about money. If somebody comes and takes the kids to school, that's less gas on you.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody takes the kids to dancing or co-curricular, whatever it is, but if you have to do everything, you are being stretched to your maximum capacity. So I remember a moment when I said to myself, oh my God, thank God I have this basic education. It
Mm-hmm.
will keep me and my kids from starving and from going under. And so, in that aha moment, I said to myself, well, I already crafted an outline of a life plan, which involved going back to graduate school.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, there is no way under the sun that these three girls, because I eventually had a third daughter,
Mm-hmm.
would not have the support to make it to college.
Mm-hmm.
Then I was living in Jamaica. So we were three or four Black women from a developed country. And I purposed that I was going to change that and support that change. So I wanted my children to have a developed country's education
Mm-hmm.
because I had gone to Scotland and done graduate studies.
Mm-hmm.
And having that new awakening to see how the geography of the world works, I recognize that if you did not have a certificate from the UK, the US, or Canada, it just didn't rank as high as from other places.
Mm-hmm.
So that set off my own determination to ensure that my kids were able to get that education.
Wow.
But even more significant is what I noticed over the years is that women who are in the process of divorce and separation, they become enveloped with shame. And shame is a driver of disconnection and depression. because what it does, it pulls you away from people. You begin to sell yourself the shame scripts. I'll never get over this. I am no good. Nobody will want me again.
Mhm.
Um, how will I make it without him? And so we do a lot of internal self-pecking as opposed to self-compassion. That I have the talents and abilities. I can use these talents and abilities to move forward. I
Mhm.
can become the best version of myself. After all, before you met this person, you were your whole self.
Mhm.
And because you got into a relationship, yes, it's hard to disentangle that identity, but you
Mhm.
were the person that you are before you married that person. So
Mhm.
now you have to call on yourself to develop your skills, your abilities, and to shape your values in a way that serves your highest self and your
Mhm.
family. So I did that, and I noticed that that worked for me. And I want to dismantle
Mhm.
and disrupt the mantle of shame that engulfs women in this season of their life,
Mhm.
and to let them know that we can all heal, grow, and thrive. And you have to choose your framework for healing. You
Mhm.
have to decide on your own personal growth based on your opportunities and your resources. And your thriving comes from the community. Your community can walk with you. And I had my whoville and my youville. Every
Mhm.
one of us have people who are drawn to us for support, but they can walk with us,
Mhm.
but they can't walk for us.
Mhm.
So it is
Yeah.
just important that women understand that it is a season of life. It's not a death sentence.
Mhm.
And you can move forward. Movement is medicine. Take small steps and keep going.
Mhm. And that's so powerful, and it's so true. To sit here and say, I had a divorce, and especially when we are talking, in the religious and church families and things like that, because there's such a stigma behind it. And I know that can be so freeing, just to take that ownership of the story and say, you know what, yes, this is what has happened to me. It's not unusual, and I've lived through it, I've survived it, and I've overcome it, and I'm going to help others do the same. I love that. Clover, so what does living with purpose look like for you now?
Okay, so living with purpose for me now is exactly what I'm doing. Jumping on every podcast, eventually creating my own to really support and be a cheerleader. It's just to be a
Yes.
cheerleader because there
Yes.
are people who don't have the whoville and the
Mhm.
youville. They may
Mhm.
just have a few. Some of us are fortunate, like myself, who had an extended family of friends for
Mhm.
support.
Mhm.
So I am here to be a cheerleader for women who are on this journey to
Mhm.
say, you can do it. It is possible, but you have to put in the work, and
Mhm.
it is inner work. It's not external work. So you have to commit, you have to connect with people
Mhm.
like myself who can help you, coaches, therapists,
Yes.
and whatever genre of healing that you choose, because faith is not the only. It's the one I use, but there are
Mhm.
several frameworks. So I really want to be a cheerleader for this group of women,
Mhm.
and to ask them to look at themselves in terms of self-compassion and not in terms of victimhood, and
Mhm.
take agency over their lives by moving
Yes.
forward.
Yes. 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 Amen. Amen. So Clover, as we're getting ready to wrap up this conversation, let me ask you a question of legacy and impact. If today were your last day, what would you want to be remembered for?
Well, I would want to be remembered as someone who gave parenting my all. And that it is a difficult journey, and it's even more
Yes.
difficult when you're doing
Mhm.
it on your own or with limited co-parenting.
Mhm.
So, whether you are a teenage mom, whether you're a mom who is in your 20s going through separation and divorce, or in your 30s or 40s, the pull is great. And so I just want you to give it your all. Remember, though, that a mom can only be a mom and a dad can only be a dad. But in as much as you are able to, give it your all, root for the other co-parent as well, because the success of your kids ultimately comes down to both parents giving it their full on support.
Wow, such wisdom. Such wisdom. I enjoyed this conversation. If you were to leave just one bit of truth or maybe a word of encouragement with someone listening today who's still trying to figure it out for themselves, what would it be?
I would say look for opportunities for personal and professional growth. We all have skills and abilities. And it's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than have an opportunity and not be prepared. Because your children depend on you, not only for the emotional support, but to be able also to be a provider. And more often than not, it falls on the mom, who is usually the custodial parent.
Wow, that's true. Better to be prepared than not, because then you're ready to move into that next phase when you are. And don't want to miss out on the opportunity. Such good advice there. Clover, I just want to thank you for sharing your heart, your story, and your light with us today. It's conversations like this that reminds us the purpose is not about perfection. It's about showing up and growing through the things that we go through and trusting that every step does matter. So here on the Good Morning Minute and through the Empower Her Steps movement, we believe every woman has a calling worth discovering and a voice worth using. So wherever you are today, friend, remember your purpose is powerful and you're not walking alone. Until next time, keep rising, keep trusting, and keep walking boldly in the life that God has designed for you. I'm Angelina Mojica, your life coach, sending you much love, much peace, many blessings.